I've dedicated my life to traveling all across the country, sharing my story.
Aaron again to the basket.
And I've been very fortunate. To walk into rooms and tell my story in front of over 1 million kids.
The former basketball star is in trouble with the law. Chris Herron made a name for himself playing at Fresno State and going pro. On Friday, Herron was arrested in Portsmouth on drug charges. Investigators claim heroin residue was found in his car.
When I started this, and I walked in and I saw 2,000 kids sitting in front of me, that made me a little nervous. So I walked behind the curtain and I said a quick prayer. I said, please God, just one kid. Please, just one. If I can help one, it's worth it. So I walked in, grabbed the mic, I told it. After I told it, Q&A. After Q&A, I saw no more hands, so I was ending it, relieved it was finished. I was exiting. As I'm walking, this little girl in the front row tapped me on my leg and pointed me up to the top. At the top of the bleachers was a little girl with her hand up, sitting all by herself. So I started walking this way so I could hear her question. As I'm walking, kids are shifting in their seats. They want to see who has the question. When they spot the girl at the top, it became disruptive. Kids started laughing at her, making fun of her, and telling her, put your hand down. So that little girl, who had more courage and guts than I ever had, that little girl dropped her hand, turned red, and said, see, Mr. Herron, at my high school, it's not even worth asking questions. Because at the end of the day, nobody cares anyway. So I ended it. But I felt I failed her. I tried to find her, I couldn't, and I walked out wondering. And I thank God that that little girl had the courage to send it 2 months later. Dear Mr. Herron, I was the girl with her hand up. I didn't have a question that day. For the first time in my life, I wanted to tell my story. Mr. Herron, my father's a drunk. He's an alcoholic. He has been my whole life. My mom, she suffers from depression. But my father's drinking caused him to lose his job 4 years ago. And for the last 4 years of high school, I've had to wear the same exact clothes every day. And what you wear to high school as a senior, a girl, it matters. And I can tell you, I'm the furthest thing from a pretty girl. I've been battling being ugly since I was a little kid. What I don't understand is why I have to battle kids in my high school because of it. For some reason, Mr. Herron, they like to take pictures of me, Snapchat, record me, and laugh at me. And for the last 4 years, I've gone home from high school by myself with no friends. And for the last 4 years, my father's drunk on the couch. My mom is upstairs in her bedroom with the door closed. So, Mr. Herron, I go to my bedroom, I lock my door, I put my music on, I take my homework out. And I do the one thing that's helped me through my day. I roll up my sleeve, I grab a couple of razor blades, and I cut myself really bad. I'm a cutter, Mr. Herron. I'm scarred from my wrist to my biceps on both arms. But I want you to know that you walked into my high school that day and you said, one kid. I promise you I'll be that kid. Because right after the assembly, you gave me the confidence to confront it. So I walked into the cafeteria and I sat down at the cool kids table. When the whole cafeteria saw me sitting at their table, they started making fun of me. telling me I don't belong and I should get up. For the first time in my life, I stood my ground. And as soon as that whole table sat down, I rolled up my sleeves and I showed them all my scars. I said, look what you've done to me. You don't even know me, but you make fun of me. You have no idea what I've been through. It's not my fault my father's a drunk. I walk into this high school every day embarrassed, humiliated about what I'm wearing and how I look. I hope making fun of me, laughing, has helped you over the last 4 years. Because I wanted to show you how much it's hurt me. She said, since that day, Mr. Heron, those kids have never said another word to me. They don't post pictures, they don't laugh, and some have had the decency and courage to approach me and say sorry to me. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart coming to my high school and making a difference in that one kid's life. That little girl sends me an email every 30 days. That little girl's email that I get every 30 days telling me she has another month without putting razor blades to her skin, hurting herself. That little girl's email means more to me than anything I've ever accomplished on a basketball court. When I started this, my kids were little. Now, 2 in high school and my youngest is 9. And every high school I go to, every college campus I present on, kids will say, Mr. Heron, now that your kids are in high school, how do you handle them drinking and smoking on weekends? How do you handle your son getting drunk at his best friend's house on Fridays and Saturdays? For now, as a father, I'm still very blessed to be at IF. It doesn't mean my kids won't, but they haven't. If they do, I will not be like my mom and dad, and I will not be like some of your parents. I will not ignore it. I will not look away. I'm not gonna interrogate, punish, or take away because of it. I could care less with who, how much, where it happened. I'm walking into their bedroom, I'm gonna make my 17-year-old son look me in the eye. I'm gonna make my 15-year-old daughter pick up her chin. I'm gonna tell him how much I love him. I'm gonna say, as your father, please tell me why. Why did my son need drugs to hang out with kids he's known since he was this big? Why does my little girl need to get drunk to stand in a house that she grew up in on a Friday night amongst kids she's known since she was 5? Why weren't you enough tonight? Just being you. See, we all have why inside. Most of us are afraid to talk about it. Don't want to recognize the beginning. Just like some of you, I want to skip this talk. Just like some of you, I walked into this talk with the attitude, sat as far away from the speaker as I could, looked down and said, all I do is drink and smoke, man. I'll never be that guy. See, they wrote a book about me when I was your age, a junior. And this man who said he's gonna write a book about me, he said that I'm gonna include 14 of your high school basketball teammates. Our parents, doctors, lawyers, nurses, teachers, stay-at-home moms, single moms. Out of the 15 kids on my high school basketball team that they wrote the book about that would have walked into this assembly like it was a joke, out of the 15 kids that drank out of red Solo cups and smoked blunts on Fridays and Saturday nights, out of the 15 kids, that would have tried to skip this assembly. 7 of us became heroin addicts. But our mommies and daddies are doctors and lawyers. We thought we were tough in the woods, cool in the basements. I never heard one friend say playing beer pong in a basement, cards, quarters. I never heard one friend say in the woods, I can't wait to stick needles in my arms when I get older. I can't wait to overdose, lose my family. I can't wait to ruin my children's lives. That doesn't come up at the high school parties. It's safe to show you pictures of drug addicts and say, look how disgusting their life turns out. It's safe to put people with no teeth up on a big board and say, look what crystal meth does to the body. That's safe. But nobody asked about the beginning. 6 years ago, I would have walked in and I would have told you my story. What I've learned is my story's not enough. That you kids, you deserve way more than just a story. We focus on the worst day and we forget the first day. We want to tell you stories and show you movies about what drug addiction looks like in the end. If I asked this school to walk into this assembly today with pictures of drug addicts, if I asked you today, come prepared with a picture of a drug addict in your pocket, 95% of you would have brought a picture of a person in the final stage of their life because of drug addiction. Why? What, you don't think we start somewhere? You think we look like that from day one? Why do you see them as prostitutes and homeless people and not soccer players and shortstops? I don't know if you're aware of this, but I was told that this school district had 18 overdose deaths last year of alumni from these schools. And you think it will never be you. I just want you to know, they thought it would never be them. Because if you want to keep it real in here right now, there's a whole bunch of you that have been caught. There's kids in here right now that your parents suspect you of it. Well, how come they haven't asked you why yet? Most parents won't ask it because they're afraid of it. And most kids won't offer it because they're embarrassed by it and want to pretend it's not there. No father wants his little boy to look up at him and say, hey, guess what, Dad? I walk around this house like I'm the man. But truth be told, I can't even sit amongst my friends on a Friday night and just be myself. I don't even have the confidence. If I do get invited to a party, I'm so scared to walk into it. So it makes me feel a little better about myself when I walk into basements with a buzz on. It allows me to do things I normally wouldn't. Parents don't want to hear that. So they don't ask it. See, I think parents hover over you, academically apply pressure to you, athletically, but forget you socially.